We're going to another weekend with many residents of KZN still very uncertain as to what the future holds. So then people who have lost their identity documents in the floods are receiving new ones at least. Today, Home Affairs officials reissuing over 1,000 IDs and birth certificates as well. Let's take you back down to the province of KZN now, where Lindokuhle Xulu is there for us as well. Let's first of all start off with Linda. We'll go to Ronald Masinda in a moment. Ronald, so ministers, we understand, and deputy ministers visiting the flood-stricken areas in the province. Talk to me about impact they're having on the various issues that residents are having. Hello to you, Linda.
Hello, Gareth. Well, according to the Minister
the Premier of the province, who essentially told us that the visits that we've been seeing from the ministers, different ministers from different portfolios towards KwaZulu-Natal has been impactful in a sense that every time the minister comes, the programs that they've implemented into the province are yielding results. Today, the Deputy Minister of Home Affairs, Ubabunjabulo Nzuza, was here. He was here to address issues of, the documents that were lost during the floods. We know that people had been displaced. Their houses had simply been destroyed by the floods. But one of the things that we do know is that many of us keep our documents within our homes, and that is exactly what the problem was, to say that while people are trying to rebuild, there is this issue of saying that they must in fact be having their identity documents, whether it's for SASSA, social grant reliefs, whether it's for applying for jobs and all sorts of things that would require that you have an identity document. Now, the Premier of the province was essentially telling us today that it's important for these ministers to keep on returning, as well as deputy ministers to keep on returning to the province to try and implement those solutive processes as well as activities. And today, while the deputy minister was here, the Premier elaborated in terms of why it has been important to have the national government and in fact have the national state of disaster declared so that these ministers can be able to travel to KwaZulu-Natal to help the province. Take a listen to the Premier giving us a sense really of how important this was and what impact they've had in terms of sorting out some of the issues that people of KwaZulu-Natal were facing.
Well, in line with the district development model, where the national government work with the province and the district as well as local, we are able to ensure we provide services in a way that makes impact. Last week, the Deputy Minister started the process of ensuring that those people who lost their documents are registered. Right today, we are bringing those documents. We're bringing IDs. 1,553 IDs have been processed for the KwaZulu-Natal people who have been affected. And that shows that we are making impact. Minister Mbalula is here today. We are already working on ensuring that we augment areas that have been affected so that by the end of this week, some of the roads are open. We were in the south of Durban, around areas of Umkababa, and Minister Mbalula is continuing with that together with MEC Nkonyeni. We went to the south. Today they are here in the northern part of Durban and in KwaDukuza. So yes, there is a significant contribution from national departments, but it is affirming that if we coordinate together, we can make huge impact.
All right, let's talk about that huge impact, Lindo. Let's come back to you again. So the Department of Home Affairs doing what they can to get these ID documents and birth certificates out. However, we have to ask about how painless this is for residents. Are they having to jump through hoops, or does it seem fairly seamless?
Well, we know the woes that are associated with the, in fact, Department of Home Affairs. People are always complaining about long queues. People are always complaining about how long it takes to turn when it comes to documents. But the Department of Home Affairs, through its Deputy Minister today, told us that the situation in KwaZulu-Natal had, in fact, encouraged them to make the process painless for some of the victims of KwaZulu-Natal, and that is why we saw this swift response in terms of the Deputy Minister visiting the province in less than 1 week. We saw now the turning and the return of some of the IDs of those that were able to actually enlist and register. So the minister, the Deputy Minister did say that what they have done is essentially make sure that this process was quickened, but also was in fact easily and seamless for some of the people that were victims of these floods. We also understand that the cost to this, to some of the victims was at no cost, because of the fact that they've been through so much, and the point of now is to make sure that while they try and rebuild, it's also to make sure that they do not encounter some problems that people would be complaining about in future. But take a listen to the Deputy Minister explaining as well what they have done to ensure that this particular process is not one that is dragging, is not one that is delayed for these people of KwaZulu-Natal who need each and every form of help to actually return to normalcy when it comes to their lives and what they've been through.
We have lists that we received. Firstly, it is declared a disaster. We then move in, we request disaster management centers to tell us how many people are affected. Out of those people, then we take a decision that those who are affected will offer the service for them for free. The local councillors, as you can see today, we are here with the mayors from Ilembe as well as Guaduguza, who work with the local councillors, who then tell us these are the lists of people who need our assistance because they've been involved in a disaster. We then take the applications, and the rest, as you can see today, we are here with the Premier to then issue those documents so that we can really display and give hope to the people that they can still continue with their lives.
So over 1,000 IDs issued. I'm sure they're going to continue to do that. A lot more people need to get their ID books and birth certificates urgently. Ronald, Masinda, hello to you. As you continue to cover this for us as well, we heard from the KZN Premier that the Transport Minister is still out and about, but where are we as far as getting the transport infrastructure in KZN back up to speed? What's the timelines looking like?
Gareth, well, according to Fikile Mbalula, fixing rail and road infrastructure will certainly not happen overnight, but work has begun in earnest. He says that national government has forked out over 3 billion rand, with provincial government chipping in with over 2 billion rand. He says that the N2 and N3 highways, so the national roads, will be the top priority. He says as soon as that is up and running, so too can the economy, where a number of vehicles travel to and from Durban and other areas of the country. He says that a rapid response task team has been set up to ensure that things run smoothly during this process. He says that this team will meet every week to ensure such things as compliance is ensured during this process, as well as money that has been allocated for these projects will be spent in good hands. And he also said this earlier when we spoke to him.
We have 372 projects we have identified in KwaZulu-Natal. Costed, those projects are giving us around 5.7 billion, and we are going to contribute through our reprioritization program 3.3 billion more or less, and the province will bring 2 billion into it. Central, its job is to ensure that for every project that is costed, we are able to ensure that it is properly costed and it is not inflated. We have put mechanisms in place. The AG will be doing her job on real time in terms of this work. So we are really up to it in terms of preventing any form of corruption or shenanigans that anyone may try in the system. It's all hands on deck. There is no project of this disaster that is going to be implemented without check. We will get a report every week. Today, this morning, where I started is to meet with all the municipalities. Weekly, we will get a report on implementation. We will also analyze the costs involved in terms of implementation, and if there is any deviation that is required, Treasury must give consent to that. So we are wide awake. No chance. If it happens, it means somebody is sleeping on the job.